Hi dear students. So in this session we are going to discuss about Vibrio cholerae. Cholera is a serious bacterial disease caused by Vibrio cholerae. It usually causes severe diarrhea and dehydration, and the disease is typically spread through contaminated water. Modern sewage and water treatment have effectively eliminated cholera in most countries, but it's still a problem in countries like Asia, America, Africa, and even in India. Countries affected by war, poverty, and natural disasters have the greatest risk of cholera outbreak. Vibrios are gram-negative, rigid, curved rods that are actively motile by means of a polar flagellum. They are highly motile and consist of a single polar flagella. The name Vibrio is derived from the characteristic vibrately motility. The meaning of vibrate means is to vibrate. They are sporogenous and non-capsulated. Vibrios are present in marine environments and surface waters worldwide. The most important member of the genus is Vibrio cholerae, which is a causative agent of cholera. Filippo Passini discovered cholera in 1854. He discovered and studied the bacteria with a microscope. And in 1883, it was first isolated by Koch from cholera patients in Egypt. The cholera vibrio is a short, curved, cylindrical rod with rounded or slightly pointed ends. The cell is typically comma-shaped and it consists of a sheath or polar flagellum, and the organism is also having a resemblance to the letter V. It consists of about 34 genus. The vibrios are seen arranged in parallel rows, and it was described by Koch as the fish in stream appearance. To the cultural characteristics, the cholera vibrio is strongly aerobic, but it can also grow as an facultative anaerobes in the temperature range of 37 degrees Celsius and the pH of 7.4 to 9.6. Growth is better in an alkaline medium and range of pH being 6.54 to 9.6. NaCl is required for the optimal growth, though high concentrations are inhibitory. It is having a temperature range of 16 to 14 degrees Celsius and the optimum being 37 degrees Celsius. It grows well on ordinary medium. On Newton agar, after overnight growth, colonies are moist, translucent, round disc about 1 to 2 mm in diameter with a bluish tinge in transmitted light. On Mekongi agar, the colonies are colorless at first but become reddish on prolonged incubation due to the late fermentation of lactose. On blood agar, colonies are initially surrounded by a zone of greening, which later becomes clear due to hemodigestion. In gelatin stab culture, liquefaction or a white line of growth appears in the medium after 3 days of incubation at 22 degrees Celsius. Apart from the ordinary media, a number of special media have been employed for the cultivation of cholera vibrios. They may be classified as transport media, enrichment media, and plating media. Venkataraman Ramakrishnan medium is an example of the transport media, and it is an ideal transport medium. Here, the organism will be viable for several weeks without multiplication. The medium is prepared by dissolving 20 gram of crude sea salt and 5 gram of peptone in 1 liter of distilled water and adjusting the pH to 8.6 to 8.8. And there it is dispensed in screw-capped bottles. Beside the VR medium or Venkataraman Ramakrishnan medium, the transport medium also consists of Carey-Blair medium. It's a buffered solution of sodium chloride, sodium thioglycolate, and calcium chloride. And another example is the bile peptone transport medium. Enrichment medium. It consists of the alkaline peptone water with a pH range of 8.6. In this, the rapid growth occurs in about 6 hours with formation of thick surface pellicle. Beside the alkaline peptone water, the enrichment media also includes Monsour's taurocholic telluride peptone water. It is having a pH range of 9.2, and both these are good transport as well as enrichment media. The next one is the plating media. It consists of alkaline bile salt agar, Monsour's gelatin taurocholic trypticase telluride agar medium, thiosulfate citrate bile sucrose agar medium. The alkaline bile salt agar medium is having a pH range of 8.2. It is a modified Newton agar medium and the colonies are similar that which appears on the Newton agar medium. The next plating medium is the Monsour's gelatin taurocholic trypticase telluride agar medium or GTTA medium. The Cholera vibrios produce small translucent colonies with a greyish black center and turbid halo. The colonies become 3 to 4 millimeter in size in 48 hours of incubation. The TCBS medium or thiosulfate citrate bile sucrose agar medium contains thiosulfate citrate bile salts and sucrose. The Cholera vibrios produce large yellow convex colonies which may become green on continued incubation. Coming to the biochemical reactions of Vibrio cholerae. Carbohydrate metabolism is fermentative, producing acid but no gas. Cholera vibrios ferment glucose, mannitol, maltose, mannose and sucrose but not inositol, arabinose or lactose, though lactose may be split very slowly. Indole is formed and nitrates are reduced to nitrites. These two properties contribute to the cholera red reaction, which is tested by adding a few drops of concentrated sulfuric acid to a 24-hour peptone water culture. Catalase and oxidase tests are positive, methyl and urease tests are negative. Also, the Vibrios elaborate several enzymes including collagenase, elastase, chitinase, nucleotidase, decarboxylase, lipase, mucinase, and neuraminidase. They are susceptible to heat, drying, and acids but resist high alkalinity. They are destroyed at 55 degrees Celsius in 15 minutes. They can survive in clean water for 30 days. On fruits, they survive for 1 to 5 days at room temperature and for a week in the refrigerator. Now let's see the major classification of Vibrio. The Vibrio species is divided into the Vibrio cholerae species and other Vibrios, which include Vibrio mimicus, Vibrio parahemolyticus, alginolyticus, vulnificus, etc. Again, the Vibrio cholerae possessing a common flagellar H antigen were classified as group A Vibrios and the rest as group B Vibrios, comprising a heterogeneous collection. And based on the somatic O antigen, the group A Vibrios were classified into subgroups now called as O serogroups or O serovars. All isolates from the epidemic cholera belongs to the serogroup O1. Therefore, in the diagnostic laboratory group, O1 antiserum, commonly called cholera non-differential serum, came to be used for identifying the pathogenic cholera vibrios. Other vibrio isolates which were not agglutinated by the O1 antiserum came to be called the non-agglutinable or the non-O1 strains. They were considered non-pathogenic and hence they are also known as non-cholera vibrios. The Vibrio cholerae O1 was again divided based on their biotype, serotype and their toxin production. While all the isolates from the epidemic cholera belong to the group O1, not all members of the group were capable of causing clinical cholera. And it consists of the biotypes classical and even Tor. The first such members which acquired prominence were the Vibrios isolated by Gotschalk from 6 Hajj pilgrims who died at the Tor quarantine station in the Sinai Peninsula. And they came to be known as the Eventor vibrios. The Eventor vibrios give rise to pandemics and endemics. Again, based on minor surface antigenic characteristics, both the classical and the Eventor biotypes were again classified into the Ogawa and Inaba strains. The Ogawa and Inaba strains are agglutinated by their own respective specific sera only. And there is also classification based on toxin production and non-toxin production strains. All these classifications have epidemiological significances. The Vibrio cholera 01 strain is salt resistant, heat and acid sensitive, and in that the Eventor biotype is mostly almost 75% asymptomatic, 18% show mild diarrhea, and 1 to 5% has severe cholera symptoms. They are fast growing in food and they have a lengthy survival period in environment. So what is cholera? Cholera is an infection of the small intestine caused by the bacterium Vibrio cholerae. The main symptoms are watery diarrhea and vomiting, and this may result in dehydration, and in severe cases grayish bluish skin will also appear. The transmission occurs primarily by drinking water or eating food that has been contaminated by the fecal waste of an infected person, including one with no symptoms. The severity of the diarrhea and vomiting can lead to rapid dehydration and electrolyte imbalance and death in some cases. The primary treatment is oral rehydration therapy, typically with oral rehydration solution to replace water and electrolytes. Worldwide, it affects 3 to 5 million people and causes about 1 lakh deaths a year as of 2010. The common symptoms of cholera include diarrhea, vomiting, dehydration, irritability, drowsiness, droopy eyes, having a dry mouth with extreme thirst, dry skin, decrease in urination, a very low blood pressure, and an irregular heartbeat. The transmission of cholera worldwide is through contaminated water and contaminated food like raw or undercooked seafood, rice, cereals, brewers that is left at ambient temperature. Person-to-person transmission is not at all common and fecal-oral transmission is possible. Natural infection with cholera occurs only in humans and not in animals. When bacteria are consumed with food, few organisms as 10⁻² to 10⁴ organisms are adequate to cause an attack because of the buffering capacity of the food. Any medications or conditions that decreases the stomach acidity makes a person more susceptible to infection with Vibrio cholerae. Infection occurs in humans via oral route by ingestion of contaminated food or water. The incubation period is 6 hours to 3 days. The ingested microorganism reaches to the stomach and the multiplication occurs in the small intestine. After the growth and multiplication, it starts to produce toxins called cholera toxin or cholera enterotoxin or choleragen. This toxin causes the hypersecretion of glands in the intestine and resulting in large amount of intestinal fluids in the intestinal ligaments. The toxin also increases the capillary permeability, leading to edema or swelling. On the same hand, it produces proteolytic enzymes which help the organism to penetrate the covering of gastrointestinal tract and causes the diarrheal disease among humans. The stools are rice water similar which containing mucus, epithelial cells and large number of vibrios. The massive loss of electrolytes from the body leads to metabolic acidosis, muscle cramps, anuria, acute tubular necrosis, shock and sometimes death. The disease may last for 4 to 5 days with an average fluid loss of 15 to 20 liters per day. The Vibrio cholerae enterotoxin activates the stimulatory GIS protein, also known as the guanine nucleotide binding proteins, via the ADP ribosylation, and this will stimulate the secretion of chloride ions and water from enterocytes into the small intestines and causing watery diarrhea. Cholera is not an invasive infection. The organisms do not reach blood, only act locally. The virulent Vibrio cholerae organism attach to the microvillus of the brush border of epithelial cells. They multiply and liberate the cholera toxin and perhaps mucinase and endotoxin. The non-virulence factor of Vibrio cholerae include CT, the enterotoxin, that is cholera toxin or cholera enterotoxin or choleragen, which is very similar to the heat labile toxin of E. coli. Cholera vibrios also possess the lipopolysaccharide O antigen, that is LPS endotoxin, but it does not play any role in the pathogenesis of cholera. And next one is the adherence factor, that is adhesion to the epithelial surface and colonization may be facilitated by special fimbriae such as the toxin regulated pilus or TCP. Coming to the epidemiology of cholera, cholera can occur in many forms, that is sporadic, endemic, epidemic or pandemic. India more specifically has been known from cholera for very ancient times, periodically causing large epidemics in different parts of the country. During 1870 to 1923, cholera vibrios had spread from Bengal in 6 separate pandemic waves involving most parts of the world. It is mainly transmitted through ingestion of water contaminated with the cholera bacterium, that is the fecal oral route, and that is usually from the fecus. The source of the contamination is typically other cholera patients when their untreated diarrheal discharge is allowed to get into waterways or into groundwater or drinking water supplies. Any infected water and any foods washed in the water as well as shellfish living in the affected waterway can cause an infection. Cholera is rarely spread directly from person to person. Laboratory diagnosis. Hematological investigation doesn't give any significant abnormalities, and the bacteriological examination include microscopic examination, cultural studies, biochemical test, and slide agglutination test. Stool specimens are collected in acute stage of the disease before the antibiotics are administered. Simple collection of stool in a wide mouth and container is safe and hygienic. Specimens should not be collected from the bed banks, and vomitus is not advised to be collected as sample. Stool specimen appear as rice water. On microscopy, it contains mucus, epithelial cells and large number of vibrios. Milder cases are difficult to differentiate from other diarrheal diseases. Altor strains of Vibrio causes milder disease than classic biotypes. Mucus flecks from the stools are cultured. Smears are not useful for diagnosis. The dark field microscopy will show rapidly motile vibrios. Growth is rapid on blood agar and in TCBS medium. Typical colonies can be picked in 18 hours. The stool specimens can be transported in Venkataraman Ramakrishnan medium, and the alkaline peptone water is ideal enrichment medium for Vibrio cholera. On microscopy, gram-negative coma-shaped bacilli can be observed, and the culture studies can be performed in ordinary media, transport media and enrichment media. On Mekongi media, pale color colonies will be developed, and in Mansur medium, colonies will be formed with black centers. And the biochemical test for laboratory diagnosis include the sugar fermentation test, and there is fermentation of glucose, sucrose and maltose with the production of gas, and the nitrate reduction test is positive. Indole test is positive. Catalase, oxidase and motility test will be positive for the Vibrio cholerae. The confirmatory test for Vibrio cholerae organisms are by slide agglutination test using anti-O group 1 or group 139 antisera and by other biochemical reactions. The specimen from a selective media is placed on a microscopic slide, and a drop of normal saline is placed over and then observed under a microscope after adding 1 drop of antiserum over the specimen. Presence of clumps indicates the positive test for Vibrio cholerae. So in this way we can perform the slide agglutination test, which is a confirmatory test for Vibrio cholerae. The positive test is marked by agglutination. Treat all the cases or suspected cases promptly. Assess the degree of dehydration and determine if the rehydration should be oral or through IV, that is intravenous, and don't wait for laboratory confirmation for the treatment. The most important part of therapy consists of correction of water and electrolyte imbalance to correct severe dehydration and salt depletion. Oral tetracycline tends to reduce stool output in cholera and shortens the period of excretion of vibrios. The primary goal of therapy is to replenish food losses caused by diarrhea and vomiting. Reserve the intravenous route of rehydration for patients who purge more than 10 to 20 ml per kilogram and for patients with severe dehydration. Rehydration is accomplished in two phases, rehydration and maintenance. The goal of rehydration phase is to restore normal hydration status, which should not take no more than 4 hours. Set the rate of infusion in severely dehydrated patients at 50 to 100 milliliter per kilogram, and the lactated Bringer solution is preferred over isotonic sodium chloride solution because saline does not correct metabolic acidosis. And the objective of the maintenance phase is to maintain normal hydration status by replacing ongoing losses. The oral route is preferred in this case, and the use of oral rehydration solution or ORS at a rate of 500 to 1000 ml per hour is recommended. Use of vaccine and chemoprophylaxis. Chemoprophylaxis with antibiotics is effective. Repeated injection of vaccine containing either lipopolysaccharides extracted from vibrios or dense vibrio suspension can offer limited prevention to heavily exposed persons. Vaccines are not useful in the case of epidemic controls. Two types of oral cholera vaccines are available. The first category is the Dukoral and the second category is the Chantal and the Oakvax. The Chantal and the Oakvax are identical vaccines in terms of strains, but they are formulated by different manufacturers using different methods. The available oral cholera vaccines are safe and provide sustained protection of greater than 50% that lasts for 2 years in endemic populations. And the Chantal and the Oakvax have demonstrated longer-term protection in children aged less than 5 years, and they do not require any booster doses every 6 months. The use of oral cholera vaccine in emergency situations is accepted, but it still remains as a challenge. To date, there is no specific indication for use of oral cholera vaccines in endemic situations, and studies are being performed to prove their effectiveness as a public health tool. So let's see some of the measures to control cholera. It needs improvement of sanitation associated with water treatment and food. The infected patient should be preferably isolated and the excreta should be disinfected. Do not defecate in water. Cook food thoroughly. Drink and use bottled water. Another test that is used to identify Vibrio cholera colonies is the string test. For this, a lupule of the Vibrio growth or the sample to be tested is taken. Into that, a drop of 0.5% sodium deoxycholate solution is added, and then the substance becomes mucoid, and this indicates a positive result for Vibrio cholerae colonies. And when you take this mucoid substance, it is having a string-like appearance, and that's the reason why the test is termed as string test. You can see the string-like appearance here. Another test used for the identification of Vibrio cholera is a cholera red reaction. For this, drop of concentrated sulfuric acid along with the peptone culture of Vibrio cholera is taken, and it is allowed to stand for 24 hours. And after that, you can see the red color, which indicates a positive test for Vibrio cholerae.